Dot didn't have a plan. He had a habit. Every morning, 6:47 a.m., before the coffee finished brewing, he opened a notebook, not a laptop, a cheap spiral-bound notebook from a dollar store, and he wrote down one number, what he spent yesterday. That's it. No budgeting app, no spreadsheet, no financial advisor whispering in his ear. Just a number. Every single day. For 3 years. You know what happened? Nothing. For a long time, absolutely nothing. No dramatic transformation, no viral moment. His bank account didn't explode overnight. But something else happened. Something quieter. Something most people completely miss because they're too busy waiting for lightning to strike. Dot started seeing his life differently. And that's the whole game, right there. That's what nobody tells you. Let's kill the fantasy first. You are not going to stumble into financial discipline. It's not going to click one day because you watched a motivational video at 2 a.m. Willpower is not the answer. Willpower is a gas tank. It empties every single day. Here's what the science actually says. In 2006, a researcher named Anne Graybiel at MIT published findings on how habits form in the brain. Her team found that when a behavior becomes habitual, the brain essentially compresses it. It stops thinking about it. The prefrontal cortex, your decision-making center, steps back. The basal ganglia takes over. It's automatic. What does that mean for you? It means the goal is not to try harder. The goal is to make the right behavior require zero trying at all. That's not motivation. That's engineering. B.J. Fogg at Stanford spent years studying this. His conclusion? Tiny behaviors anchored to existing routines compound over time, not because they're magical, because they're sticky. They survive contact with real life, with bad days, with stress, with laziness. A gym routine that requires 45 minutes of driving? That dies in February. Writing one number in a notebook while your coffee brews? That survives. The difference isn't ambition, it's friction. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most people don't fail at building wealth because they lack information. They fail because they fundamentally misunderstand what change actually looks like. Humans are pattern completion machines. We crave resolution. We want the after photo. We want the transformation arc. So when progress feels invisible, when you've done the habit for 2 weeks and nothing has shifted, the brain screams, "This isn't working," and you quit. This is called the Valley of Disappointment. James Clear wrote about it in Atomic Habits. You expect linear progress. You get a flat line. Then, if you survive long enough, a curve, not a slow incline, a sudden steep jump, because results compound. Compound. That word gets thrown around about investing, but it applies to behavior too. Think about it like this. Imagine a piece of paper folded in half once, twice, 50 times. 50 folds of a standard sheet of paper would theoretically reach the sun. That's compounding. It looks like nothing. Then it looks like everything. One habit doesn't change your life in a week. It doesn't change it in a month. But it restructures your identity. And identity is what drives long-term behavior. Dot wasn't just tracking spending, he was becoming someone who pays attention. That's different. That matters more than the notebook. Let's get specific because vague inspiration is useless. There are 3 layers to how tiny habits create financial traction. Layer 1, awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. The average person has no accurate mental model of where their money goes. Studies from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau consistently show that people underestimate discretionary spending by significant margins, not because they're irresponsible, because they're not looking. Writing down one number daily forces a reckoning, not a judgment, a reckoning. Slowly, patterns emerge, patterns you cannot unsee. And once you see them, they start to feel wrong in a way that matters. Layer 2, identity shift. Here's where it gets interesting. When you repeat a behavior consistently, you start to adopt a corresponding identity. You're not someone who is trying to be more careful with money. You're someone who tracks things. Small difference, enormous downstream effect. Identity-based behavior is more durable than goal-based behavior. Goals can be abandoned. Identities are defended. Nobody wants to act against who they believe they are. Layer 3, decision architecture. Tiny habits create data. Data creates clarity. Clarity creates better decisions. Not one dramatic decision, 1,000 small ones. The subscription you finally canceled because you finally noticed it. The spending pattern you reshaped because you finally saw it repeated 12 times. None of these moments feel significant in isolation. Collectively, they are the entire ball game. You probably think wealth is an event. It's not. Wealth is a posture. A constant, sustained orientation toward a certain set of behaviors. Think about physical fitness. Nobody looks at a fit person and says, "Wow, they must have had one incredible workout." You understand intuitively that fitness is the result of thousands of ordinary, unsexy sessions, missed social events, early mornings, meals that weren't satisfying. Financial stability works identically. The person who retires comfortably didn't make one genius investment. They made 10,000 small, boring, disciplined decisions over decades. The tiny habit is the session. The notebook is the gym. And just like fitness, showing up on the days you don't feel like it is worth 10 times more than showing up inspired. Inspiration is weather. Systems are infrastructure. Build infrastructure. Concrete. Let's go concrete. Pick one habit. One, not 5. A strong starting point? Every morning before you check your phone, write down what you spent the previous day. Total, one number, takes 40 seconds. That's your anchor habit. After 30 days, if it's stuck, stack one more. Maybe it's a weekly review. 10 minutes on Sunday looking at the week's numbers. Not judging, just looking. After 60 days, stack again. Maybe it's one intentional financial decision per week. Automate a transfer, review a subscription, research one concept, inflation, index funds, tax-advantaged accounts. One concept, 1 week. Do not try to rewire your entire financial life at once. That's not ambition, that's self-sabotage with better branding. The research is clear on this. Implementation intentions, concrete if-then plans, dramatically increase habit adherence. Not, "I'll be better with money." Instead, when I pour my morning coffee, I will write yesterday's spending total in my notebook. Specific, triggered, tiny. Remember DOT? 3 years of a cheap notebook. 3 years of one number every morning. Here's what actually happened. At the end of year 1, he'd eliminated 4 subscriptions he forgot he had. Not life-changing? Real. By year 2, he'd built a 3-month emergency fund because he finally saw the gap between what he earned and what he needed to live. That gap had always existed. He'd just never looked at it clearly enough to use it. By year 3, he was automating a monthly transfer into a low-cost index fund. Not a large amount, a real amount, a consistent amount. No windfall, no viral hustle, no secret. Just a man, a notebook, and 40 seconds every morning. That's the whole story. That's always been the whole story. The tiny habit didn't make Dot rich, it made him someone who could build wealth. That's the distinction. That's what nobody talks about, because it doesn't sell supplements or courses. Systems don't go viral, but they work. So here's your one takeaway from today. Stop waiting for the big move. Start with the smallest possible version of the right behavior. Do it tomorrow. Do it the day after. Don't grade yourself on results yet. Grade yourself on repetition. That's the mechanism. That's the only mechanism. If this shifted something in how you think about habits and financial behavior, not promised you riches, not handed you a shortcut, but genuinely shifted your thinking, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this kind of content is worth distributing. Subscribe if you want more frameworks, more science, more blunt explanations of how things actually work. And drop a comment. What's the one tiny financial habit you're committing to this week? Write it down right now in the comments. Make it specific, make it tiny, make it yours. See you next time.